I will not apologize because I have done no wrong. I am not apologizing for refusing to move my seat to the seat that I was verbally assigned, not properly notified in writing, and not given a chance to argue or to debate why I would like to retain my seat. I would also not apologize for speaking up on sexual harassment. Apologizing for sexual harassment means everything I've said is a lie. And then thinking about it, that means no other woman who faces the same ill will be able to speak up tomorrow. And that is like upholding the culture of harassment, upholding the culture of fear and intimidation. If Natasha is going through this, that means it's not all rosy. But how can we use her narrative, her experiences, to strengthen the ecosystem in politics in Nigeria and in turn raise the standard of leadership? So I don't know what will befall me on the 3rd, but I'm arriving in Nigeria and I will be there in court to face these charges. And I trust that the judiciary will accord me a fair chance to explain what truly happened. If all of these utterances that they say I made were real, fine, I'll face the law. But if not, then all of those who have ganged up to defame me, to criminalize me, should also face the law. That's my stand. I have heard them boasting that on that day, I'll be sent to prison, there'll be no bail. All well and good, the president himself, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has been jailed before. Nelson Mandela too, and many other great people. So if this is the prize of politics, then I'll wear it as a badge of honor.
Welcome back to Great City Art. My people, we don't come again with another update. Right now, I want to talk about some of the trendy things for the country. After so many weeks of keeping Senator Natasha silent, she refused to be oppressed. Now, she don't take another bold step to speak out. Many secrets don't expose for this video. Senator Godswill Akpabio and other senates, including Reno Omokri, is a lesson to everyone. Never you trust anybody. Many blackmailer did this case. Many people, when she put hope and trust on, end up to be our worst enemy. Guys, watch it and drop your thoughts.
I'm very sure you would have seen this a lot on social media, especially and some Nigerians that are saying things like, this is not the first time that you are accusing somebody of sexual harassment. Are you the only one? You've accused this person. Actually, your colleague, Senator Nwambui, also said this on Arise News. I'm going to play the video. I really want you to address that because is it true that you've been accusing several people of sexual harassment? And then we will come to, was there sexual harassment? Did it actually happen? That's one of the things a lot of people have been asking about, as well as what's about your evidence? When will you make it public? Things like that. So let me start out by playing the video of Senator Nwambui.
Is that this is a complete falsehood. This is an attempt to discredit the Senate president. And this is not the first time. Just give me some time. This is not the first time this woman is doing this. This is a woman that have accused Ayabelo of sexual harassment. This is the same woman that have accused the... I'm calling. Allow me to flow. Allow me to flow. Okay. This is the same woman that accused Reno Omokri, the former media aide to Jonathan, of sexual harassment. This is a woman I saw in a video yesterday accusing a minister of sexual harassment. Are you the only woman in Nigeria, Senator Natasha? What is wrong with you?
Oh, your mic. But Senator Nwambui.
Okay, so you want to talk
yes,
about
thank you so much, Adela.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me thank you so much for this. I would say this categorically. I have never accused any other person of sexual harassment apart from Senator Akpabio. I never accused Yahaya Bello of sexual harassment. And I never accused Reno Omokri of sexual harassment. I don't know if you have that screenshot of the text message that I sent. Okay. That was the text message that started the whole thing. And I think this is, if Nigerians can go back to the post, it was like, this is my response to one of his posts on Facebook in the year 2019 or 2020. And I said, hey, it was a conversation whereby he was attacking one of my wards, a girl who felt really bad, and then she was being dragged. So I went there and I made this statement, like, I understand how boring and bitter life must be for you away in the US on asylum. No more access to your numerous iPhone 2 girlfriends, most of whom you got into show P through your office as an SA to the president, to President Goodluck Jonathan. Weren't you married then? I rejected your silly advances in 2014 at the Villa's Banquet Hall during President Uhuru Kenyatta's reciprocated visit. I gave you a fake name and a fake phone number, but so it just pretty much ended after that. So if anyone can actually go to the post, you'll be able to extract the full one. I will appreciate it. So here it is. That is the only time. I mean, that does not amount to sexual harassment. What I said is, we were at an event and he walked to me been friendly, asked for my number, asked for my name. I gave him a fake name, a fake number, so we never got in touch because it was fake name and fake number. So the bone of contention at that point was that he said he wasn't in the country, that it wasn't him I saw. There must have been somebody else. But I insisted that no, I saw you, and that was what transpired. And then that's how the whole thing ended. He put up pictures of his passport with the stamp, and he also presented a ticket which proves that he wasn't in the country at that time. But I was like, you know what, we know how people get the stamps. Sometimes people like, you know what, they don't want to, I'm not trying to implicate the immigration or so, but it's what they call the Luole passport and all of this stuff. So I was like, I can sit here and get my travel agent to generate 5 tickets to different countries, and that doesn't mean I really travel. So it was more like, was he the one I saw at the villa? Wasn't he the one I saw at the villa? Did he travel? Was he in the country? It was never sexual harassment. I never accused Reno Omokri of sexual harassment ever. So I was actually surprised when an incident that happened years back, where it was not reported as sexual harassment, suddenly became a sexual harassment matter, like him adding the voice to it. I'm surprised. And on the minister where he said I spoke, I remember there was on the floor one Senator Fashtusi from Ekiti State, Senator Cyril made a statement that, I actually accused this former governor, His Excellency Fayemi, of sexual harassment. I never, and I'm so glad that he actually came up to clear the air that I never accused him. So I didn't accuse Yahya Bello. We never had any relationship whatsoever that was in that line. It was more political, him antagonizing my election in 2019 and in 2023. So the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, is the first Nigerian man that I'm actually coming up to speak against sexual harassment. But that does not mean, let me say this, that does not mean that I've not been sexually harassed by others in the past, right, from my university days, because sexual harassment happens so rampantly to many Nigerian women. I can bet you if Nigerian women are to do Me Too, you will probably see a ratio of about 80% of Nigerian women. And people don't really understand what sexual harassment is. They think that it's like rape. Do you understand? It could happen like wrong gestures. It could be denial of rights or dues just because the woman has not given in. There are people who make passes at me, and I just joke about, like, please excuse me, I'm married, and have you seen my husband? Flat tummy, dark, handsome, please, you can't match him, and it ends there. So there are times when we just make a joke, Natasha, but you're fine, I want this, excuse me, please, so look at your pot belly, where would you put this body? We just joke about it and it ends there. Do you understand? But when a person makes advances at you and he doesn't take no for an answer, probably because he feels it massages the ego or whatever, and then it now begins to inhibit at your work or turns to malice. That now becomes harassment when a person doesn't take your no for an answer. So that's what it is. And of course, like I said, I've subjected myself. Indeed, I saw statements on the news about the presidential panel being set up. Yes, I was contacted, I think it's the first week of April or so.
Reno said you paid him. Did you pay Reno?
I didn't pay him. I didn't pay him nothing. I don't know what he's talking about. He should bring proof. I didn't pay Reno nothing. He said my husband paid him. That was what he said. And I asked my husband. My husband said no, he never did. So he should bring proof of that. You can't just come and say I accuse you. Yes, I think as a matter of fact, I should maybe, if this continues, then I will have to take action whereby he would then have to present proof of where I accuse him of sexual harassment and where such payments were made. Because you can't just wake up one morning and begin to attack lie against him just because you want to favor the party in power, which I respect his views. The fact that he has shifted from antagonizing the president to being one of the great supporters, that's fine. That's the beauty of politics, I think. We're all at liberty to make our choices. But I think it's really wrong when you want to please someone, then you go overboard just to attack me or manipulate whatever happened. And like I said, there was a presidential committee panel set up. I was approached, that was early April or so, and asked if I'll be willing to submit myself to the panel to investigate. I was like, of course. They made me understand that it's going to be a panel made up of APC members, and I was like, of course, as long as it will be objective and fair. The fact that I'm PDP in the opposition doesn't really matter. The fact all that matters to me is that I'll be given a chance to tender my evidences and my complaints. And they said, okay. So I was told to recommend somebody, which I did. But later on, I was told that the Senate President pulled out of it, and that's fine. But one more thing, again, that I've seen people questioned: why did I just speak up? Why didn't I speak up? Something that happened over a year ago. Let me tell you this: speaking up on sexual harassment is one of the most difficult things anyone can do. And many women actually go to their graves with that. Many men live with their wives without knowing that their wives are being sexually harassed at workplaces, or because they're scared of being judged. And right now, we keep seeing a lot of men complain that the DNAs go wrong, that the children their wives birthed are not theirs. But the men should sit back and wonder, Why do they think some of these things go wrong? They sleep with their wives go to the office, and for any promotion, her boss sleeps with her. So along this line, babies will be born who do not belong to their husbands, because the woman is not given a fair chance to speak of whatever disadvantages she's faced. And somehow sexual harassment has become a norm in Nigeria. It's almost like, do you know, there were actually women that approached me and said, Natasha, you are slacking. You know, but 3 Citizen was making pass at you and you didn't take advantage of that. So, but then the question is, the thing there is, I didn't speak up because I want any monetary remuneration or I want some reward. There's pretty much nothing the Senate President will do for me that God has not blessed me with. I thank God I am already a self-made woman, and then my husband is comfortable enough to take care of my needs. Mind you, I told you that the Senate President and my husband were friends, and my husband really played a pivotal role in supporting him to become a senator in the first place and even become a Senate President. It's no hidden news. So what else? I didn't speak up because I want Senator Akpabio to settle me out of money. I just wanted to tell my story and let him give me a chance to work, because the environment was already toxic. For the past 7 months before my suspension, I stopped eating in the cafeteria. Senators will testify. Like normally, I don't like eating breakfast in the morning, so I look forward to eating after sessions. We have a canteen where all the senators go. Well, most senators go, and it's free lunch. So I usually join my colleagues to eat then. And after eating, about 2-3 p.m., I'll go to work, to my office, and stay there till 5-6 p.m. But since the environment became uncomfortable, I stopped going to the cafeteria. So that means every morning I will only eat at evening time when I get back home. So I was still hungry just because I was avoiding being in the same space with him, because he could just utter words and everybody there will laugh without thinking of how it will affect me, or he'll make statements and all that. So yeah, I didn't speak up because I wanted any settlement. I didn't want any money out of it. And neither was I seeking him to be arrested or anything. I mean, ordinarily in a sense that society, people who harass women should be punished. But I mean, Nigeria, I don't think we have gotten our institutions or societal orders have matured to that level. But I just wanted him to give me space to work, because I was harassed almost continuously at that point.
Okay, so I need to round up that last question based on the tape and some of the things that Reno Mokuri said. Thank you for addressing some of that. Also, there has been allegations by Senator Nwabe that...
Oh, and one more thing, I don't have 6 children for 6 men, like he said. No, I have just 4 biological children. And I know I forgot that part. I don't know why he didn't play it. It's somewhere in the video where he said I have 6 children, I have 6 men. And even if I have 6 children for 6 men, I don't have 6 children. I have 4 biological children, but in total, with my stepkids, we're all 8 children in total. So, but even if I have 6 children for 6 men, that does not invalidate the fact that if I speak of sexual harassment, it should not be investigated, and that does not make me a bad person.
So one of the things that he also said was that you sued your husband, you forced him to marry you. Was that all made up, or did you...
That's all made up. That's all made up. I didn't coerce my husband. We're actually in court on that. As a matter of fact, he was avoiding service. So 2 days ago, or yesterday, the court granted the substitute order permit. So I believe it's on the papers now, and it could be pasted in his office or at the gates of the National Assembly that he's served, so that he will attend to the case, the charges there. I didn't harass, I didn't coerce my husband. My husband's such an amazing person. I mean, Adiola, he's an amazing person. He's been my strength through these challenging times, even throughout my elections. I actually pray that more women in politics, which are most women in Nigeria, will be lucky enough to have this man as supportive as my husband. You know, yeah.
So you sort of answered my next question stylishly. I was just going to ask, okay, was there sexual harassment? Did it actually happen? And more importantly, people have been asking, where is your evidence? When will you make your evidence public? Can you speak about that?
Sexual harassment did happen a number of times. And yes, I do have my evidence, and I will tender the evidence at the appropriate place. Like I did say, I thought the Committee on Ethics and Privileges would be the first place for me to tender my evidence, but that did not happen. And then I thought also the presidential panel will be another place, but that also did not happen. So at the next opportunity that I have to tender my evidence, which I also have witnesses.
So they didn't let you tender your evidence at the...
I was never called upon to speak, no. I was never called upon. I was never called anywhere. There's never been an inquiry into that where I was called to tender my case.
Okay. So we're running out of time. Like I said, I really want to take questions from people, and we have not even gotten to Sandra Duru's drama. But actually, let's go into Sandra Duru's drama. But I just want to say real quick, though, that you do have a number of petitions against the Senate President, against Yaya Bello, against Onwemboyi also, and against Sandra Duru. Has any of your petitions been addressed?
Thanks, Adiola. As a matter of fact, I have all the petitions listed, 12 of them in total. The first petition on March 11th, second March 25th, then March 31st, then April 4th, April 24th, April 28th, April 29th, May 2nd, May 6th, May 15th, May 19th, to May 19th, had several petitions written to all the security agencies. And unfortunately, there's been no investigation. And these petitions are all interwoven from threat to life, withdrawal of my security, assassination attempts. When Sandra Duru made the live video on the 1st of May, I did write my first petition against her on the 6th of May. I think I did send you a copy. And then after the interview where Frances and Obina spoke up, we then had to make another interview because we could then see that there was a connection with the Senate President. So we now wrote another one against Sandra Duru and the Senate President. That was on the 15th of May. And unfortunately, none of these petitions have been investigated. And but when my lawyers went public with this, with the cause that there is bias in the investigation, in the activities of the police, that was 4 days ago. My lawyers went public with that. Surprisingly, yesterday my lawyer told me that they received a letter of notice of investigation from the Inspector General of Police's monitoring unit. Just yesterday, my lawyer told me. So, and the question I have in mind now is...
This was the one against Senator Peter Onwemboyi.
Yeah, but when they didn't respond, so we went to court.
And this was the one against Sandra Duru.
Yes,
right?
This was on the 6th of May. If you see, 6th of May, just right after her, where I mentioned that all those things she said, that I called Nigerian gullible and hungry. I offered to pay her 200 million to blackmail Akpabio, that I said I'm there to destroy the Yoruba government. I listed everything that's all false and they should investigate. Nothing happened on that. What is this one? This was 4th of April. They thought to assassinate me. Yes, I did write this. Before I even went to, I wrote a petition before I even made an appearance on Shewa Kimbaloye's show. If you watch that video, if you watch the interview on Shewa Kimbaloye's, I did make reference that it is considerable threat to my life and that
and then this one is president. So has any of this petitions been addressed?
No, not one of them. Not one of them. But like I said, if you can, there's there's one other document I sent to you. The one that was, no, not that one.
Okay. Which document?
Let me highlight it. Sorry.
And what does the document say? That now they would address the petitions?
Yes, yes. This I've just highlighted this.
Okay. Awesome. I do have that. Okay, so what does the document say while I'm...
So that document just notifies me that they want to commence investigation. And this was just after my lawyers went public that my numerous petitions were not receiving attention, and instead is the only petition the Senate President Akpabio wrote against me that I'm defaming them by crying out of the assassination, that's what the federal government initiated against me. So it's more like I came out, I wrote petitions, drawing attention to the assassination attempt, risk of my life. That wasn't attended to, and yet the Senate President and Governor Yaya Bello, wrote their own petitions, outcrying that I defamed them by speaking out, and then that is a petition that I am being charged for conspiracy. What's it called? Criminal defamation. Yeah. So this is it. It was just signed on the 27th. My lawyer received it. If you look at the stamp at the bottom, on the evening 2 days ago. So yesterday, my lawyer told me. And if you read it, there was no date mentioned. Like, in view of the foregoing, you are kindly requested to inform your client, that's the Distinguished Senator Natasha, to attend an interview with the head of the IGP monitoring unit at the first floor. But there was no date to it. So no date. That means it's just like in vacuum. But this was I received this yesterday. So, but then again, look at it. Is this not what they ought to have done before charging me to court? I have
so
petitions.
Saying that they should have addressed your own petition.
They should have, yeah. They should have addressed it.
They should have Akpabio's petitions.
Yes, they should have. I mean, I was the one who went to the police first. In short, my first petition was when the Senate President stripped me of my security. I did complain to the police that, look, I'm in harm's way, considering the fact that I had quite a violent election, and there has never been a time when the governor, Yahaya Bello, has ever given me a chance to breathe. I've always had to sleep with one eye open. So I was like, me being without security has made me quite vulnerable. And if you recall, the day I was suspended, the former Senate President, Ahmed Lawal, did raise that concern and pleaded with the Senate President to allow me retain my police officers, but then that was turned down. So I did write to the police. Nothing was done to that. And then there were attacks also to my home in my village, whereby my younger brother traveled home, and they thought I was the one there. So they attacked our home. And that was also in the news. There was an investigation whereby the police command in Kogi visited my home and did affirm that there was indeed an attack. And prior to that, remember the incident where I went home with the helicopter, which is on the 1st of April? 1st of April. A day to that, which is on the 31st of March, my chief protocol officer in Kogi, Honorable Jude Sule, he was abducted from his home by men in armed uniform, and he was questioned about my movement. He was questioned as to whether I was going to be in Kogi and which route I was going to take, and the man failed to honor them with any response. He was kept for 2 days before dropped at the police station in Okini. It's on record there in Kogi that the man was there. So there were considerable attempts to monitor my movement, track me, hunt me, and like I did mention, there was actually a meeting between Yahaya Bello and Akpabio on the night of the 14th of March,
So that's
2025, where they did plan to assassinate me and to recall me. And when I did call, after that information, I did call a few press houses to tell them that, look, there was going to be a recall and there was also an assassination attempt, but then they asked for written proof before the press could have carried that story. But then there was no written proof, like a statement of a recall. But then suddenly, after 3 days after that, the recall news broke up. So, yeah.
Okay. These are also like strong allegations, but you're defending yourself. I want to move to Professor Sandra Drew. And in talking about Sandra Drew, the most important thing that Nigerians would like to know, myself included, first and foremost, did you speak with Sandra Drew? Did you guys speak? Like, what's going on? Let's start from there.
Thanks a lot, Adiola. I know this is the most desired question, and everybody watching are all ears now. Yes. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. I would say that categorically, I did not speak with Dr. Sandra Duru, but I did speak with Professor Mbeki as she presented herself. And let me take you back.
Is this in person?
I got to know that is one and the same person after her broadcast. Let me take you back, and I have, if you don't mind, the screenshot of the entire chats. If you don't mind putting that up so that I can speak to it.
You sent me a screenshot of your chat with her, but I'm also trying to make sure that the address of what's it called? Hold on, I just want to make sure that no address is showing.
So you want to blur the addresses?
Yes. So you speak.
Okay, let me speak. So in the morning at about 10 o'clock on the 27th of March, a dear friend of mine, Ina Agu, who I've known for the past 10 years. Last I saw him was 4 years ago, but we've always maintained contact. He's been very involved and concerned with the developments. So he reached out to me in the morning. I was tending to my garden, and he said, Natasha, there's someone I would like you to speak to. She's been doing a whole lot of publications in support of your cause. I said, who? He said, Professor Mbeki, Professor on Facebook. I was like, okay, I've seen one or two of her posts in my support, and I think I did like and make a comment on it. He said yes, that he did reach out to her, and then he was like, you know what, encouraged her and all of that stuff, and said, okay, I should please call her and tell her thank you. My friend had connected me to a number of people in the past. Whenever he saw anyone grant an interview, he'll call me, oh, Natasha, I have this person's number, just say thank you, so people will feel appreciated and valued. I said, okay. So he did call the number out. That was about 10:30 in the morning on the 27th of March. So I called the phone. Hello, Professor. Becky. She was like, "Hi, this is it." I told her, "Thank you so much for lending your voice to discuss." She said it doesn't really matter because she's a woman. She's been sexually harassed before. Her daughter was also sexually harassed. She connected with me, and she wasn't doing it for me alone. She was doing it for, the bigger vision, all Nigerian women and women around the world. Conversations went on. But basically, the conversations were not all that she put out or what she said. And before you run down the chats, the screen, I did send you the video of all the conversations, and I appreciate if you publish it for Nigerians to read. But when we were speaking, she told me she was a professor of psychology. I had no reason to doubt because, come on, I like to believe people on the face value of what they present themselves to be. If she says she's a professor, okay, she's a professor. I mean, I supposed to know that she is, Professor Mbeke is just a moniker. It's just a decoy of who she truly is. And she did say she was a professor of psychology, and I was like, oh, to myself, this is who I am. I ran her through my credentials as well. She said she's affiliated with a number of international organizations, United Nations, WHO, UNICEF for Children, and many others. I was like, okay. She said she was going to use her platform to draw attention on this matter of sexual harassment, and that if I had any other addresses, so that she would also write to them through her organization. I was like, okay, so while we're on the call, if you can publish that, I think it's important I speak to the chat messages. So that was when I did send to her the first two contacts, which is the Senate President's counterpart in London and the Speaker of the Commonwealth. But okay, while you're writing to your United Nations and other international organizations, you can also...
Those organizations, I wasn't able to block their address. Is that okay with you?
Maybe just okay. But how will you? But I want you to put
organizations.
But will you put the video? I want you to put the remainder of the chat, because if you can't, then maybe you want me to do a screenshot. Maybe you start from.
Sorry, I just uploaded the wrong one. One of the reasons that I'm glad that you sent this is because a lot of people would also like to know, why did you delete your conversation with her? Because she put up
we're going to get to that. That's why I want you to show the entire. I want you to show the entire video, the screenshot. But what might have to happen, since we want to take away the addresses of the first. Yeah, you've showed it already. Yeah. Okay. So we start from here. Yeah. No, just stop. Please go back a little bit to the top. Yeah. You can see it's Professor Mbeke, to the best of my knowledge that I spoke with, as she presented herself. It's just like you now, Adeola. If I've known you as Adeola, you can't come tomorrow. I saw you're Cynthia. Because at that point, I was speaking pretty much on the phone. My phone was always buzzing between the lawyers and Nigerians of goodwill. I spoke to a lot of people. So in my mind, I saved her name as Professor Mbeke. But that wasn't the DP she had at that time. The DP has changed anyway. It was a white dress she was wearing. But it's still an AI generated. I didn't know it was an AI generated video. Like I said, I trusted her on face value. So just before then, she sent me, after I forwarded the gentleman the contacts that she said she was going to send letters to, because she's affiliated with United Nations and many international organizations that promote women's rights and all of that. So if I had any contacts that she should write to and she forwards, I said, okay, fine. You can as well draw the attention of the Speaker of the UK Parliament and the Commonwealth. That was why I sent that. After that, she told me she had written books, and that these books would also speak to the situation at hand. I was like, okay, she sent me this forward. It's only later on in the course of things I got to know that the books she says she's written are also AI written books. But anyway, that's for her to decide or whatever. So just scroll down a bit.
Okay, so we can just play it.
Yeah, so after that, in the course of our conversation, that was me sending to her I think that was the letter during the return. My return, that was the document, the letter, the Kogi Central Political Frontier. We did speak about that. So I told her that, look, this does not exist. We run a CAC check, and this Kogi Central Political Frontier, as a body that was used to recall me, did not have a legal bearing because it was not registered. So that was what we spoke about. Mind you, it was on the phone, so we're kind of communicating through that. I'm just letting you know the nature of the conversation. So you see that it does not, what she's saying that I said does not even add up at all. That also, I can forward to you what that was, is my petition, my lawyer's petition to INEC. That was what I sent there. So later on, she did say that she had a message. She reached out to my friend, Ina Okoli, that she didn't want to speak to him on blah, 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 that she was an independent person pursuing justice. I didn't really understand where this came from, because at that point we had finished talking. So I didn't. So when she said that, I didn't really understand that. So I think I tried to call her, but she didn't pick up. You can scroll down to see. Please play it further. No, just let it run through. Yeah, you can see that. I didn't really understand where that my friend stopped. So here, also part of the conversations we had. Now, please pause here. Part of the conversations we had was the manner in which Senator Nweboyi went all out, castigating me and demeaning me on all the news platforms. So at that point, I told her that I didn't like the fact that I am constantly being reduced and objectified as just a beautiful woman or, you know, a pretty face, that I would like people to look at me as a technocrat, a woman who is well-schooled, who is competent, who is a senator, that when men are having a conversing, men don't go, oh, I'm going to engage you because you are well-built. I'm going to engage you because you're handsome. Men don't do that. So if you're speaking to me as a lawyer, as an MBA executive, as a senator, speak to me on my competencies and not because I'm beautiful. So that was where she now said, oh, you are a lawyer? And I was like, yes, of course. I ran her through. I'm a lawyer. I have my MBA in oil and gas management. My formative years in my career were spent in the oil and gas sector. So I did run her through that. So at that point, she said, she's impressed. That do I have my credentials? I said, yes, I do have my credentials, which I already made public in the year 2019. And it's actually in the media space. She said I should please forward my credentials to her, together with this screenshot from News Central Instagram page, that she was going to make a post along the line of identifying a woman on competences and not a pretty face. So that was where I sent this. And if you look at it, there are 15 items. Just scroll up again so that people will see. All of this, which, hold on, just pause there. There are about 15 of them in total. They were all my credentials. They were sent in. I dropped them in at the same time. It's like when you drop pictures or PDF files, they all land at the same time. Contrary to what she said on her live, that this were when I was chatting her up and offering her 200 million to blackmail Akpabio. That is not true. Nobody can type 15 messages and the same in 1 minute. It's not possible. I don't even think AI will do that, however fast and smart it is. So these 15 documents, Adela, I'm going to forward them to you. You'll see. So
everything came in at 12:40 on my screen.
My own time, 12:40. But if you look at her own message, it was 6:40, I think. If you look at it, because when she did her own, I saw the screenshot. Remember, she's in Texas. They're like 6 hours behind.
So you're saying that the messages that she said you deleted, you are saying that they were actually your credentials.
My credentials. Look at them. I've sent. Hold on.
So I
them to you. I'm getting there. Look at them. These are my credentials. There were 15 of them from that's my primary school certificate. From my primary school certificate, my testimonial. This is it. My secondary school, Federal Government College Idoni. You'll see there. This were University of Abuja, Nigerian Law School, NYSC, CAPMLP, that's University of Dundee, Aberdeen, had a program there, and many other. This is INSEAD, my MBA. Okay, this is still INSEAD, IHRDC in Boston, because I did mention that I have quite a lot of. So I've sent everything to you anyway. It's in your phone right now. But that's what I published. That's it. And you know one thing, the beauty is that I just got back from the US because I was there to also see how we could further some of this, because I really am going to get to the bottom of this. And I'm told that in matters, I believe if WhatsApp is contacted, they can be able to extract these deleted items, because they did have it happen on their platform. So we're hoping that in the course of the litigations, they'll be able to extract. But I'm just letting Nigerians just understand that it was in the course of our conversation where she wanted to make a post, putting side by side Senator Nweboyi's statement. You look at it up there where he said, does Natasha think she's one of the most beautiful women in Nigeria? So, and I told her that I didn't like the fact that women have been reduced or objectified. Speak to me as a competent individual, a technocrat. And that was why I told her about my academic qualifications, and she said, okay, I should forward it. So these were all, that's why they all dropped at the same time. When you drop bulk messages in pictorial forms or PDF or whatever, they land at the same time. It's impossible. Yeah, that's it. That's why all of this is what I sent to her. My work, certificates, everything. So
people may ask, why did you delete the messages?
So let's proceed. So after that, I didn't hear from Sandra. Let's go back to the text messages. Yeah. Okay. Look at the time. That was 12:40. So then at about, let me go back so I can read from my own space here. Yeah. This is it on my phone. So just to let you know that I want to read it as well from here since we'll be. Okay. So this is it from my own phone. That's the screenshot. And then this is where we are here. Okay, so now, then after about 4 hours, she sent this first message asking for a contract and asking how I was going to take care of her and her team. So let's read it. This is very important. It's important Nigerians read this because this is where things got interesting. Mind you, the 37 minutes we spoke had nothing to do with contracts, had nothing to do with I'm engaging. I never told her there was nothing like sexual harassment, that I'm all set out to destroy Tinubu's Yoruba government, that I called Nigeria gullible and hungry, that I paid Dr. Obiesi Krisili money to carry on the advocacy, that what did she say? I was going to poison my husband.
You called her useful idiot.
That I called Frida useful idiot. Never, ever, ever. And I'm actually glad in a way that she is a witness in this federal government suit because she has to testify on everything. She must provide evidence that is going to be subjected to verification. Because you see, there's a limit. I don't know. I've listened to some of these audios. What she did in a way so funny. Like, apparently the way I'm speaking to you over the on here now sounds differently from when I'm speaking to you in person or when I grant an interview or when I speak to you over the phone. So what she probably did was get how I sounded on the phone, of course. And then she released one part where I mentioned about working in brass LNG and all, of course. But then she used some AI to now generate other parts that I didn't speak of. But again, I don't know what else she has in stock, but I'm challenging her. And like I said, I just returned from the US. I'm in London now, but I'm going to be in Nigeria for the arraignment on the 3rd because I have done no wrong. I'm not going to run away. The 3rd of June has been fixed 2 p.m. So I'm going to be there to defend myself fully in person. But also I'm letting Nigerians know that this is not going to go down this easy because people can't wake up one day and just cook up stories and manipulate and use whatever technology they think they can access just to defend the person. No, I'm saying it clearly now before the world. I never said there was no sexual harassment. I never said I'm out to destroy Tinubu's Yoruba government. I'm not one. People who know me will know that I am not a tribalist, and I respect and appreciate every tribe in Nigeria, every ethnicity. I mean, who am I? I'm half Ukrainian, half Nigerian. Who am I to talk about tribes when I'm actually one part of the other world? So that's not my nature. That's not my language. And if anybody said that, that's probably her team. The people who are sponsors were the ones that put those words to her because they knew that I had and I enjoyed a lot of support from Nigerians, not just in Kogi State, across the country, even in diaspora. So, and he also knows, the Senate President also knows that I enjoyed to a large extent a good relationship with the president himself, even though I have never said it in the open. But I'm saying it now. And that actually annoyed him because there was a time that the Senate President told my husband, I was like, are you aware your wife goes to see the president? And my husband was like, yes, I'm aware. Whenever she has critical issues to raise, like before I brought up the Jakarta's probe, I did meet with Mr. President to make sure that he knew the nature of that and was okay with it. So, and other things I have met in person. So I do not have a hostile relationship with the president, even though I'm in opposition. I keep telling people, the people of Kogi Central voted me to work as a senator, not to go out there, antagonize and create enmity. And neither is also important for me people to know that my issues are with the Senate President himself, not the Nigerian Senate, not the institutions, and not the presidency. But it's unfortunate that he is wielding things to entrap all the institutions to attack me. But like I said, it's important. I'm glad you've given me this chance to tender things. But let's go back to the text now. What for? The people want to know, why did I delete my credentials from her page? So let's go back. The message she wrote there, after 4 hours of our conversation, she went, "Dear Senator Natasha, I hope this message finds you well." Please go back. Still scroll up. Yeah. I hope this message finds you well. I would like to understand how you would like me to proceed in assisting with your case, mind you, the sexual harassment case, including the specific outcomes you intend to achieve and the timeline you have in mind. Additionally, please let me know if you would like to formally engage my services or support my team in executing the strategy we have carefully put together to resolve this matter effectively. Now, Nigerians should pause and listen. Just let's think. If actually she said that what I deleted was me offering her 200 million to blackmail the Senate president, why is she talking about resolving this matter effectively? All what she said. If I had castigated the presidency, talked about destroying the Yoruba tribe or the Yoruba government, then the subsequent messages from her should have been in tune of what we had discussed. But here she's presenting herself as a mediator. She wanted to assume a role of mediating between the Senate president and myself on sexual harassment. And then she was asking for a contract. Please, let's continue. Then she said further in the second paragraph, please feel free to speak with me confidentially. I value discretion and professionalism. I would prefer to handle matters directly rather than through intermediaries. I don't know who the intermediaries are, maybe my friend who introduced us. For this reason, I have not shared any details with the individual who contacted me regarding a media appearance on your behalf. I approach cases differently, maintaining strict boundaries to ensure the best possible outcome. Let me know how you would like to proceed. I am here to support you. Please, can you scroll down? She wrote all nice. Let people see the last part. I'm here to support you. Just pause there. If actually I called her and I was poaching her to bring down the government, to destroy people, to destroy the Senate president, I've called Nigerians gullible and hungry. So why was she being patronizing and nice? Let's think. But when I saw that, okay, it was after the second, I wasn't on my phone then, so she continued. After like an hour, she continued. Would you be open to a closed-door negotiation involving you, your husband, and Senator Akpabio to bring a resolution to this matter if it comes to that? If so, where would you prefer such a meeting to take place? Sometimes strategic negotiations are necessary to untangle complex situations. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. She was still pushing me, presenting herself as a mediator, as of that. Mind you, she has told me she's a professor of psychology or human psychology. So I know that I had the word psychology or sociology. I know she was a professor of one of them. So at that point, I paused and I called my friend. Before responding to her, I called Ina. And I said, Ina, she mentioned something about the contract. Is that what did you have that conversation with her? He said no. But he only told her that I was going to call her to appreciate her and have like a girly chat. And I was like, okay, but she's asking for a contract. And she's asking how I was going to support her team. And I was like, okay. He said I should ignore that he never met. I said, but did you ask her about a media appearance? He said, yeah, because she was writing so well. So he thought she might want to appear on a TV station, maybe channels or AIT or Arise, and speak about her concerns because she had written previously that she was also a victim of sexual harassment and her daughter also. So maybe she wanted to learn the vote. That was all. He didn't ask that it's going to be paid or anything. So that was where I now responded. Please just show my response. You can see I refer to her as their professor, not just Sandra or something. I thought I was speaking to a professor. So here I responded, dear professor, I have had to read your message times over, and I am not comfortable going contractual. My friend Ina probably connected with you on the passion he saw you speak against the injustice meted against me. While I continue to count on your kindness, which I trust will, amidst others, snowball into justice for women everywhere. However, if you stop chatting our cause, know I still deeply appreciate your sisterhood spirit, and whenever I return to the Senate or wherever I find myself, know you have a friend and a cheerleader in me, love. That's to show you. From this, I made her understand that I wasn't going into any contract. I only called her to appreciate her because of what she's been doing, and our conversation was not in any way in furtherance of an activity, not talk of an illicit activity. From here you can tell. And mind you, I have downloaded all of this whole conversation, and I've sent it in a digital form as well as printed these messages to all the security agencies in Nigeria. I'm actually surprised. That's why I said that the police never looked into this. Instead, they are listing her as a witness against me over a criminal defamation. Someone that was poaching me for a contract that I said no. I'm actually surprised the Senate president fell for this scam, because he would have been smart enough to say, no, you know what, I'm not in. Because at the end of the day, I didn't think there was a reason for me to pay anybody. Everybody who has spoken, I never paid anybody anything to speak up. I've watched people across our platform, even people from Labour Party, even many APC members themselves who stood up and said, you know what, they are APC, but to stand for Natasha against sexual harassment. I didn't have to pay anybody. So let's continue. Go back again. So you can see from here, I clearly told her that while I'll continue counting that I wasn't ready to engage her contractually, that I would trust that she will continue advocating. But even if she stops because there's no contract, it is fine. I appreciate what she's done before, and she should know that I have the sisterhood bond with her. But that didn't go down well with Sandra. Sandra, as she is now, Professor Mbeki, as I thought she was. So she continued, Dear Senator, I appreciate your message and the sincerity behind it. Let me make one thing absolutely clear. There is nothing contractual or monetary about officially engaging me to handle what I have already been doing voluntarily. Please explain that to me as a lawyer.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, okay. Explain that to me. At that point, she's trying to wind my intelligence. No, still go back. Okay, I'm trying to wind my intelligence that I should go ahead, that engaging her in writing contractually does not amount to monetary. And I'm so glad I didn't do that, because I bet you, even if I had said, I'm trying to understand the nature of the contract. Yes, dear Professor Mbeki, I engage you to mediate in me and blah, blah, blah. This lady would have slapped me with a bill of $500,000 or $1 million. Only God knows if she had that. But immediately I sensed it when she was playing that a contract with that. Everybody knows a contract will amount to remuneration at the end of the day. So here she said, there is nothing contractual or monetary about officially engaging me to handle what I've already been doing voluntarily without even needing to discuss it with you first. My work in addressing injustice has never been about personal gains, but about clarity, coordination, and commitment to the cause. Formalizing an engagement is not about transactions. It's about ensuring proper communication, alignment, and efficiency in tackling the very issues we are fighting. Again, you will see, this is a woman who came up to say, my deleted messages were all about destroying the government, destroying the Senate president, doing all of those things. Nigerians, I know we're very smart people. You can tell here that if indeed I spoke to her about paying people, or about destroying the government, or offering her 200 million to blackmail the Senate president into some murder, you would have seen that in the conversation. But here she was putting herself as a mediator, seeking an engagement for her to continue what she said she has been doing voluntarily. And what was she doing voluntarily prior to this was advocating for women against sexual harassment. So our conversation was on sexual harassment, and never did I tell her there was no sexual harassment. So that's it. Again, she said, regardless of where this part leads, that's the last paragraph. Okay, no. Hold on, before then, I skipped one part. I respect your stance, even if I believe that a structured approach would have made things smoother and more effective. That said, I will continue to do what I'm known for, standing against injustice and misinformation, adhering to facts, and maneuvering sensitive matters with a critical but fair lens. My stance is independent, and I take full responsibility for my actions. How you choose to engage with that is entirely up to me. That's up to you. Regardless of where this path leads, I know that my fight is not for individuals alone, but for the larger cause of justice and truth. I value the connection we built. And whether or not I continue to chat this particular cause, which is of sexual harassment, I will always stand where integrity and justice demands. She wrote that. After, I didn't respond, but I read it. But after 7 minutes or so, she wrote again. I don't think this is the right path for me. I thrive best when I operate independently, guided by my principles and convictions. At the end of the day, all that matters is achieving a just and positive outcome, and that remains my ultimate hope. So at that point, I was like, you know what, let me just end this, because I already began to feel very uneasy. So I now wrote to her, and this was my last message to Sandra, or Professor Mbeki then, as I thought she was. I wrote, Madam, I respect your independent views. Maybe we can forget we interacted. I will caution my friend Ina, my friend who connected us, to guard his heart in seeking help. God bless us. God, that was my message. Look, from here you could tell that this was the same day. All this conversation was just one day, 27th of March.
So you guys only spoke once?
Only once. And the only time I spoke with her, 37 minutes. If you scroll back, you'll see 37 minutes. It was nothing controversial. we even ended it by saying, at the end of all of this, we're going to join forces, her in America with her network, and myself in Nigeria with my experience and her experience, how we're going to create safe spaces for women. I did mention to her that I noticed that the Senate rules was silent on sexual harassment and on how to resolve matters among senators. I also told her that I had received lots of calls from women in NNPC, in other organizations, in banks where they were sexually harassed and demanded sexual favors before their promotions. I told her that, look, I think Nigerians' public and private spaces need to have the sexual harassment codes, and that is something we would work together with her experience as an international figure, which I thought she was. I didn't know that she's not even a professor. I didn't know that she's not even a doctor. It's later on I got to know. So that was our conversation. It wasn't what is being painted. So even you've seen, look at it. My second message to her was, Madam, I respect your independent views, because she had mentioned every time she walks independently, she walks. And I was like, there was no way I was going to engage her. There was no way we were talking about mediation. Our matter at that point was still at the ethics committee level. And this was before the presidential panel was set up. So I said, maybe we can forget to interact. At that point, I was like, I don't even want to have any conversation with you. So if, as she said, that I engaged her, or I was trying to pay her 200 million to entrap the Senate president into some murder and all of that, I wouldn't have. I'm the one here that's calling. You could tell from my response, I was trying to end it with her. I wasn't having it because I had already sent. This was when I went back and I deleted all because I realized that this lady is a scam. She's probably a blackmailer. So I went back there and I deleted my credentials. That was what prompted me to delete my credentials. And I'm saying it again. Nobody can type 15 messages in 1 second, in 1 minute. 15. Not even AI. I mean, if you want to hold ChatGPT and go, ChatGPT, create a message on so. Before you get to the third one, maybe back and forth on ChatGPT, you would have, at least you would have seen the time would have gone to 12:41, 12:42, 12:45, to show that there's a sequence of timeliness. And I bet you nothing like that. It was my credentials I sent because she wanted to make a post countering what Senator Nwabonyi said, that I am just a pretty face. Why think that I'm the most beautiful woman in Nigeria and all that? And I told her I didn't like the fact that I was reduced as an object. Do you understand? I wanted to be addressed as a competent technocrat, a woman who is a lawyer, who is an MBA executive, who had worked in the oil and gas sector and now joined politics. And all of this was what I was bringing to the table politically in raising the standard of leadership. That was the conversation we had. That was why I said my credential. Because when things turned ugly, still the same day, about 10 p.m., I knew that I had to go back to delete my credentials. And that was the last time I spoke to her. But what happened after that snowballed into her. Apparently, probably she thought she was going to entrap me into some contract, make some money from me, and she wasn't getting that. So let's continue. The next thing, she was sending me screenshots of how people were making comments, still trying to entrap me, like, Natasha, people are making comments, we need to act kind of thing. So she then wrote again, I respect your perspective, but let's approach this matter with fairness and objectivity. The pursuit of justice will never be reduced to emotional gain or dismissed as distraction. If Senator Natasha claims to have evidence, I don't know whether she was sending this to me or she responded and she was letting me know what she had responded. But basically, you could see that her tone was already changing. Still the same day. This was already just a few minutes to, still the same day, about 10 something. An affidavit, why not substantial, or blah, blah, blah. Let me see. Yeah, it's still a legal document that carries weight. So basically, she was just responding to somebody's message. She wrote that this has birthed unheard screams, a handbook for all our children to educate them on how to handle similar situations. And here, this is where it got me. At the beginning of my conversations, the woman told me she has already written a book and she has sent me a forward. If you look at that first 2 screenshots, she said she had written a book on heard screams and she was in the course of publishing the books. And here, later on that same night, she's telling me that this my scenario has birthed a book that she said she had written before. Now she's saying my situation had made her write a book. So at that point, I already knew that I was dealing with a psychopath. I didn't respond. And then in response to my message where I said, let's forget that we spoke, she now responded, of course, good luck. You could see it now became a monologue where she was responding. So probably she was having conversations in her head. Probably she's schizophrenic. So she then wrote, heaping more enemies through lack of understanding and arrogance, yet you have said so much. I didn't understand where that was coming from. Then she continued, you have an appalling spirit of pride. and such is certain to drag anyone it possesses into sure doom, no matter how long it takes. I read it, I didn't say anything. I called my friend, I'm like, why is this woman acting this way? It's like she's having conversations, or is she building a line of chat, so to seem as if I'm speaking to her and then she's responding. So my friend told me that she was actually forwarding these same things to him too. That, oh, your friend has an appalling spirit of pride, it's not going to help her, blah, blah, blah. I didn't respond. So forward 3 days after, mind you, the first conversations that I've read happened, it was just a tough day from 10 o'clock in the morning when we spoke till about 10:43 p.m. So 3 days after, which was on Sunday the 30th of March, she just wrote, send this message. I had all your threats, but I have zero tolerance for such nonsense. Bring it on. I didn't speak to her. I didn't send no threats. I was minding my business. So I was surprised she wrote that. I didn't respond again. She now wrote a very long, I don't know if I wrote, a very long, this is where I knew that, okay, she was already turning against and trying to blackmail me. Made a post, I said this, I said that, and I heard that this was what she forwarded to someone who works with the Senate President, and this was how she was able to get them engage her. This was it. This was the last, when she sent this last message, that was when I blocked her. So I blocked Professor Mbeki on the 30th of March. I blocked her, I went to Facebook, I blocked her same day. I didn't converse with her on Instagram, but I searched her up, blocked her there. I can't remember if I blocked her on X, on Twitter, but I knew that at that point, I already heard so much, and I was like, you know what, all of this stuff, I was just blocking, because I knew that she was already up for blackmail, and she was probably looking for a bidder, someone who will engage her services. So that was it. You can see I blocked her that day. So Nigerians should know, I spoke to a woman who impersonated herself as Professor Mbeki, not Sandra Duru. And it was an innocent conversation whereby I had to call her based on my friend's advice, a good innocent friend who thought it was wise and safe. Our conversations were not in any way along the path of destroying the government or promoting regional divide or saying that I bought a rise, can I buy a rise? Or that I influenced FIDA or Dr. Obi with money, or Dr. Abiola who manifesto, nothing like that. Or I called Nigerians gullible and hungry, nothing, never. It was just a game, a plan to cut me off my support and set me against the president, the institutions, and the Nigerian people of whose support I've generously enjoyed by the grace of God. So this was it. This all happened March. Now let's move. In the third week of April, I received a petition from the Nigerian police under the name, the Unique Family, signed by Dr. Sandra Duru, accusing me of being in the know on withholding information on organ harvesting and all of this stuff, that there was a recorded conversation. And I responded to them, I didn't have any conversation with Sandra Duru. I did write that, very short, one paragraph, that I'm not aware of any Sandra Duru, neither am I affiliated with any Unique Family Foundation. And that was my honest response. I think that I responded on the 27th of April. The police is doing this wrong. I'm saying this categorically clear. The Inspector General of Police, I did see your number, your name appear on Sandra's call log during her live stream. And it's unfortunately the woman who I'm told has quite a file with the police, a file with DSS on activities she has, illicit activities she has committed against Nigerian men, blackmailing them, sextorting them. You would actually converse with such a person. Well, you're the Inspector General of Police. I believe you're answerable to all Nigerians. But I hope that you will find courage to diligently investigate all my petitions. And I'm actually wondering how the Inspector General of Police is going to investigate it now that these two people, or the three people, including Yaya Bello, actually all are listed in my petitions. So how are you going to investigate that when you have already written me off and condemned me to the courts to be jailed, probably? I will not apologize because I have done no wrong. I am not apologizing for refusing to move my seat to the seat that I was verbally assigned, not properly notified in writing, and not given a chance to argue or to debate why I would like to retain my seat. I would also not apologize for speaking up on sexual harassment. Apologizing for sexual harassment means everything I've said is a lie. And then thinking about it, that means no other woman who faces the same ill will be able to speak up tomorrow. And that is like upholding the culture of harassment, upholding the culture of fear and intimidation. If Natasha is going through this, that means it's not all rosy, but how can we use her narrative, her experiences, to strengthen the ecosystem and politics in Nigeria, and in turn, raise the standard of leadership? So I don't know what will befall me on the 3rd, but I'm arriving in Nigeria, and I will be there in court to face these charges. And I trust that the judiciary will accord me a fair chance to explain what truly happened. If all of these utterances that they say I made were real, fine, I'll face the law. But if not, then all of those who have ganged up to defame me, to criminalize me, should also face the law. That's my stand. I've heard them boasting that on that day, I'll be sent to prison, there'll be no bail. Oh, well and good, the president himself, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has been jailed before. Nelson Mandela too, and many other great people. So if this is the price of politics, then I'll wear it as a badge of honor. But I want Nigerians to know that I'm persecuted right now. And this whole issue of Sandra Duru or Professor Mbeke, like I said, I am going to the end of this. I will not, no one can just come up and cook up stories and think that they will malign me or destroy me, and I am strong, and I'll continue counting on the support of Nigerians.